Hey YouTubers, it's Dave at DII again. So I've got another interesting project here. Look what came in the mail for me here. A little mini steel drum. It's a little low F steel drum here. And cool thing about this drum, is that I'm pretty sure I know where it came from and about the time frame it came to the United States, and who might have tuned it when it came to the United States. So this steel drum was most likely imported by PR Percussion back in the early to mid 90s. PR had a shop up in South Pasadena here in Southern California, and he would import Wuhan gongs and Wuhan cymbals, I believe. So you might have heard of the Wuhan cymbal line. Anyway, my good friend Chris Wabich, who he and I learned how to tune steel drums pretty much about the same time. Chris knew Paul, and I'm not sure how they got familiarized initially, but Chris started working with him on tuning steel drums that Paul was importing from Trinidad at the time. So Paul would import like 30 steel drums at a time, and Chris would go in there and give them a real quick fine tuning before they went out to the customers. So there was a time period, I remember Chris and I were living together, and Chris had a pile of these smaller boxes, and inside of the smaller boxes were these low F steel drums just like this one. And I'm almost positive Chris probably tuned this about 25 years ago. So it's just kind of interesting to see it come back this direction, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to work on it a little bit, but first I'm going to clean it because it's pretty dusty and that sort of thing. So I'm going to use a simple chrome polish. It's called Mother's All Chrome right here. It's pretty basic. Doesn't stink really at all. It's really easy to use. So I'm going to throw some of that on there first to take off the dust and clean it up a little bit. And then I'm going to start tuning it. So here we go. A mini chrome plated low F steel drum. This doesn't really clean off too much because you can see there's little itty bitty dots of rust in there. And this is what pretty much a drum could look like after 25 years of being chrome plated and being played, or maybe just sitting in somebody's garage. It might have these little itty bitty pits of rust on there. But for the most part it's still playable, it's not destroyed, it's not rusting completely away. Right here is where the old Paul Real sticker used to be. Used to say PR Percussion. So that's like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a Paul Real import. All right, here we go. One interesting thing about this steel drum, even though it's small, is it's got similar layout to a regular steel drum. So it kind of has that circle of fifths kind of feel. Here it starts on F, and pretty much everything's in the same spot that it's supposed to be in, but it might be just like a different octave. So F, C is normally a low C, G, and then here's a D, normally a low D. A, the E is normally a low E. B, F sharp, C sharp's usually lower. E flat. And here's the E flat, and the octave is way over here. So here's the E octave is there. So it's just interesting how they set it up. So it's familiar to play, but it's just not quite the same. Okay, here's the final result of the little mini low F steel drum that I tuned up from back in the day, from 1995 or so. It's probably when it went out from Paul Rial's shop. Chris Wabich probably tuned it up and came back, flew back to me here this time, and I'm gonna play it and see how it sounds. All right.